got you live. This is The Mic is Live. I'm your host, Leroy Adams. We're going to give a few minutes. You know, we always come out here and give people notice so people can come out and join us in the feed. If you're picking this up, make sure you get a chance to say hi or what's up. Let me know you're out there. If you have any comments about the discussion, things that I talk about, please feel free to offer your opinion or any pertinent information. We don't know it all. We have a great deal of knowledge, but we don't have all the knowledge. So we look for audience participation whenever we can get it. So if you have anything to add to the discussion, please feel free. But you know how we do it here at The Mic is Live. We try to discuss things that are relevant to the culture, relevant to our people, relevant to our struggle. Sometimes we'll deal with other things, but the main focus is to bring awareness and enlightenment to the Nubian culture and the Melanin Nation. We appreciate those of you who have been tuning in. We appreciate the support we've been given. We appreciate those of you who have been buying the album, and we're going to have some merchandise available soon. Some t-shirts and some hats and things of that nature. So look for that stuff to be coming your way. We got things in the works back here, as I discussed with you last week. We got a few projects that we've been working on. I've been working on some straight ahead jazz. I've been working on a new R&B project, a little bit of rock and roll. So we got some things coming at your way. Just keep on the lookout for them. It takes time. It's a process. Anybody that's been following my posts, you probably saw the post that I posted the other day about the process. One of the most difficult parts of the process is respecting it and letting it come to full term. Art is like creating life. And women can tell you, that's a process. You can't rush the baby's gestation period. It has to go to full term, the full 9 months, so you can avoid any birth defects or any problems when you deliver that baby. And it's the same thing with music. It's a process, and the process is ongoing. Let me check my time here. Okay, it's 2:01. And we're going to get started here. Once again, The Mic is Live, and I'm your host, Leroy Adams. And today's topic, which we're going to be dealing with, is the United Plantations of America. Normally it's when they teach it to you in school, they call it the United States of America, but anybody that's anyone in the know understands what I'm talking about when I say the United Plantations of America. And we're going to get deep into that in just a second. But before we get into that, like I like to do in the recent weeks, from the past recent shows, podcasts that I've been coming to you with, we're just going to discuss a few things that's been happening in the news. We got Billie Holiday in the background. As I express to you each week, if the music is too loud, if it's competing with the commentary, please feel free to let me know that you can't hear over the music or whatever the case might be. I don't know how well the signal's going to hold up with this jankety Facebook thing going on, but once again, it's on you, ladies and gentlemen. I want to keep this thing going. I want to elevate it to another level, get the radio station going, get a whole nother podcast streaming going. So I ask that you support the effort. Do what you can and support the effort. And go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we can get the sponsorship that we're looking for. And help us to develop the radio station and get the streaming going on a whole nother level. Because, like I said, this Facebook thing, it's so janky. It keeps giving me messages, keeps shutting down on me, So I'm trying to get off this Facebook altogether. But again, it's up to you, ladies and gentlemen. If you want the content for us, by us, about us to keep going, it's up to you. I'm not asking you to give any type of money or anything of that nature. I'm asking that you just please, what I need you to do is go to the YouTube channel. I usually reproduce this by Tuesday. Monday, I sort of have to fix it up before I put it on YouTube. And then by Tuesday, it's out. So, let your friends know, let the family know, let the kids know, let the wife know. And go over to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel so I can get my numbers up so I can let people know that, let the sponsors know that we have an audience that's interested in what we bring. And, we can get that sponsorship. We don't want you to send any money. Like we tell you each week, if you're going to send money on any level, just buy the album. That's the album back there. Tears. Still on sale. You can buy it on eBay. You can buy it on Amazon. It's on YouTube. It's in iTunes, Spotify, just about any online music outlet. You can go and get it. You can get particular songs if you like one or two songs on the album, or you can buy the whole album. That's the only way we want any type of money. This way you get a product for anything that you lay out or you give to the effort. We don't want no straight up donations like a lot of other people be asking for. We're not into that. We know times are hard. People got to pay bills. Christmas and all this other stuff is coming up, even though we're not down with all that. But we know people are. And, whatever you can do to help us, we would appreciate it. And we hope that, you can do whatever you can do. All right. So, in the news, everybody is aware of what happened last week on the West Side Highway near the World Trade Center attacks. This crazy nut took a truck and rode down the bicycle path, running over people, killing 8 people. We want to send a shout out to the families. We understand that 8 people died, lost their lives, a couple of other people were hospitalized. It's really a shame that, in this day and time, people are still on a quest for vengeance like that. They're hurting each other just to get their point across, And I'm very skeptical in terms of what comes across on the news and what people say happened. And, it's like on the one hand, you feel sorry for the people that got hurt and you don't want to politicize things, but then you look at the evidence as to how things happen, more importantly, when things happen. It seems kind of fishy to me. It just seems like every time the Orange Man is in the news for something negative, and he's about to get, some negative press or the eye of scrutiny is on him, all of a sudden something crazy happens. What I'm saying is, again, without trying to blow this thing up and politicize it, just be aware of what's being said and what's being done. Because, as you guys should know from the past, you can't take things for face value. They tell us one thing and then you learn 5, 10 years down the line, something totally different happened. You know, they had everybody hyped up about this Iraq war and all this nonsense. Then you, as the truth came out, you start to see what was going on. You find out that the Bushes were in bed with Bin Laden. You know, same thing with World War II, man. You know, they had all these young people going off to war and wanting to defend the country. And then years later, you find out that they had broken the Japanese code 3 months before the attack on Pearl Harbor, and they knew that the Japanese were coming, and they allowed it to happen just so that we can enter the war. So don't take things at face value. Always be aware of who's telling you what, what they're telling you and why they're telling it to you. Because, this whole thing of blind faith in the government, we've matured past that point, and we know that the cornerstone of any real free society is the ability, I wouldn't even say the ability or the right, I would say the responsibility of asking the tough questions and getting the tough answers. So just take things just take things with a grain of salt and look a little bit deeper at this thing. And I was listening to Brother Tariq Nasheed, the producer of the Hidden Colors series. He does like a radio show called Ism Radio, and he brought up a very interesting point of how how on the one hand, the dominant society always want to give you an identity, in terms of who you are, because this guy was basically a white Muslim, and but once you do something wrong, all of a sudden your white card is revoked, and it's just so funny how they just classified this guy as a terrorist, right off the bat, and a Muslim right off the bat, which is a code word, as something other than mainstream, but they never mentioned that he was basically a white person committing an act of terror against white people, and it's just interesting how that played out. It's just interesting how he basically disappeared. They won't tell you what hospital he's at or anything. They tell him about shipping him off to Guantanamo. I just look at things and I sort of try to see them for what they are and not what they want me to see them for. So I'm just asking you guys to keep an open mind, keep an open perspective. Again, this is no slight against, the people that lost their lives. We want to, again, we send a shout out to them and to their families, but don't get so caught up in the sentiment that you miss the truth that is right there just beneath the surface, Also in the news, this is a story that I ran across that was out in 2016, former police chief of Brandon Township in New Jersey. He was, his name is Frank Nucara. He was brought up on charges for a hate crime. Just talking about black people, saying black people ain't nothing but niggas, and how, they're no better than ISIS. Found out he was being recorded by one of his own officers as he was speaking. The officer recorded him and brought the tapes out and let people hear what he was saying. And he was at the time in 2016, he was brought up on charges, but he was out on a $500,000 bond, and he had to surrender his guns. I don't know how far the case went. I need to do a little bit of research and find out what they did with this man. But it was just interesting to me when I ran across this in my preparation this morning how, we get caught up in this whole thing of the North and the South and how racism is basically a thing of the South and this, that, and other. But we need to understand that this thread of racism runs throughout the American fabric. It's not just the South. You got a lot of people up here in the North, in the so-called liberal North, that feels the same way that they do down in the South. And they'll let you know one way or another. This guy was a real low-down, dirty dude, man. He got caught up in a lot of nonsense in terms of how he treated people, particularly people of color. So, just be aware, that it's not just the South. You have people in New England, in the Boston area, some people in Connecticut that feel a certain way, and it's real. This this monster that we're dealing with of white supremacy is real, and it's not just in the South. This thing runs rampant throughout the American culture and American society, and we need to respect it and for the power that it has, and we need to deal with it on a daily basis. Also in the news, this whole thing with these sexual allegations, man. Like, what's going on, man? I did a show last week, a podcast last week, called America the Sexual, but it just seems to be growing and growing. It just shows how this whole thing has been swept under the rug for years and how these monsters have been growing in power in our society and how we have not faced the demons, that persist in our neighborhoods and in our communities, in our daily lives. Kevin Spacey is now done. He's basically done. They're ending his series, which I never watched. I like Kevin Spacey's work and some things, but I was never really a big fan. But the thing that kills me is when it was Bill Cosby, how it was in the news just about every day, and how how they went after this man. They're really going after Bill, taking his money, which it was all about anyway. Really was about taking his money. But it just kills me how, in contrast to these white demons that did this to these women, there are no criminal charges. There are no court cases. Nobody's being dragged in and out of court. They're being dealt with, but it's like it seems to be like on a silent level. There's no great outcry like it was with Bill Cosby, where everybody wanted America's dad to be hanging from a tree. It's just strange to me how the contrast and how the respective cases are being dealt with. Now that all of these so-called powerful white men are being called up to the forefront for what they did and the things that they alleged to have done to these women, And it's really a shame how this poison has seeped into our society, and we have had our head in the sand for years on how these allegations and crimes have been whitewashed and totally ignored. And I said this last week. This is something that's pervasive and affects all levels of our society. But let's be clear here. We're talking about a crime that mostly affects women. There are children of all ages, all genders. We understand Terry Cummings came out and said that he was sexually abused right in front of his wife. Some guy came up and grabbed his crotch. So it happens to men too. Let's be clear about that. But the fact of the matter is, this is a disgraceful, despicable crime that mainly affects women. And we need to understand and look at that and stop rationalizing and allowing these beasts to get away with it. It reminds me, and I said this last week, it reminds me of that whole Black Lives Matter thing. People come up and say, well, all lives matter. Yeah, we know all lives matter. And somebody gave the analogy of, if your house was on fire and the fire truck came through your neighborhood and said, well, all houses matter. Damn that, my house is the one on fire, And the same thing with this, we could say that, again, I don't make no bones about it. This is a very pervasive disease that is rampant within all levels of our society. Everybody's affected. Everybody has been affected by it. But, I'm not going to sit here and say everybody gets sexually abused. No. Everybody gets sexually abused, yes, but the main targets of this monstrous crime are women. And we need to do a better job of making them feel safe and don't feel ashamed. If someone is touching you and doing something to you that they're not supposed to be doing, you young girls out there, you young ladies out there, don't feel ashamed. You're not the problem. The beast that's doing it to you is the problem. And step up and say something to the men and your family so that we can step up and protect you as our primary responsibilities dictate, And that's for real. We need to stop giving these to the women of our culture and our family. See, Facebook is freaking out. I keep getting this message. It keeps stuttering on me. I really want to get off this platform, guys. So I need your help. Do what you can to help me boost my numbers up. Okay. Also in the news, the Mueller investigation is going full swing. He's looking at different members of the Trump campaign. I understand the host of the Creep Show, Kellyanne Conway, is she's dropping her Secret Service protection detail. A lot of people are speculating that is a precursor of her being shown the door. And I think the orange one is trying to distance himself from everybody who's getting ready to fall under the Robert Mueller Act. Is getting ready to heat up. The rats are abandoning ship. I mean, this man's administration has been in trouble since day one. Since week one, he's been lying, getting caught in lies, and things are just spiraling out of control now to the point where it's going to get messy. And anybody that's around that nonsense, they can get caught up, and it could be a lot messy for them as well. So we're going to keep an eye on this investigation. Even though we're sort of apolitical, we're not really involved in American politics. We talk about it in terms of its social interaction and impact on the Nubian culture. But, I've never had faith in the American political system. I never had faith in any politician, and that includes Barack Obama. Because to me, they're all a part of the same beast. They're all a part of the same monster. I've always said American politics is a joke, and the people are the punchline. But we're going to keep an eye on this thing, and we're going to see where it leads. Also in the news, the GOP is trying to push their tax reform bill, and we need to keep an eye on that and see how it affects us. They keep talking about this windfall. Everybody's going to get this $1,200 rebate, and they'll be able to do so many things for their house and everything. Anybody that owns a house, anybody that's ever done work on a house, all right, I've done carpentry. I'm pretty good with my hands. My brother, my father, neighbors. We grew up fixing stuff around the house. And anybody that's ever done it, renovated a bathroom, added on a portion to the house, doggone well that $1,200 ain't gonna do jack. You can barely buy materials with that. All right, you can barely buy materials for the job, let alone have to pay the workers that come and do the work for you. So this dream of you'll be able to renovate or add on to your house or buy a new car with $1,200 is a farce and a fantasy. This new tax deal is nothing but a break for the rich. All right. If you're a corporation, if you're of the 1%, if you are making $1 million or more, this is who this tax break is for. It has nothing to do with the middle class. It has nothing to do with poor people. All right, and that's the fact of the matter. So we need to keep an eye on this. We need to talk to our so-called representatives and let them know that we're not down with this, that this so-called tax reform isn't for the people, it's for the ruling class. All right, and that's what kills me about people talking about democracy and it's all about the people. No, it's not. Get off that fantasy. And I talked about this before. We say things over and over again. We have things in our ear over and over again until it becomes perceived fact. All right. You can talk until you're blue in the face. You can talk about democracy. You can talk about monarchies. You can talk about communism, this, that, or the other. It's all the same thing. The rich and the powerful governing the poor and the have-nots. All right. I don't care what system you in. I don't care what country you in. It's all the same daggone thing. All right. So get off that fantasy and get involved and let people know that you're involved. That's referring back to the new black codes. All that marching and praying and singing. No, we're not down with that no more. Get involved, consolidate your political power, consolidate your social strength, consolidate your economics, consolidate your voting power, and let people know that this is a new day and a new time. That's the only way you're going to change things. All right? You're not going to change things by singing and praying and waiting on the Lord. That's why they gave you white Jesus in the first place. So you'll be waiting on something that don't exist. All right? Jesus was not a white man. So stop praying to white Jesus thinking he's going to come in here and change these demons. Yeah, I believe in demons, but not the Hollywood kind. I don't believe in the ones that with the horns sitting at the edge of your bed whispering in your ear at night. I believe in the ones that wear a suit and tie, sitting up there in the halls of power, determining where the money goes, how it flows, where your food goes, the type of food you eat, the demons that run the Flint, Michigan water supply, the school systems across the country, the failing school systems, and the houses of racism and institutions of racism that determines who works and who's on welfare and who gets the benefits across this country. Those are the demons I believe in. They're very real. And if we're not careful, they're going to plunge us into another situation where we cannot fight what's about to happen. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I posted on my wall a movie called Bushwick. Somebody had hit me to it on another post, and I finally got a chance to see it. And it's my suggestion that you guys watch that movie. A very good, telling movie, very realistic as to what could happen in this country if we're not careful. Things are heating up on the political spectrum, the social spectrum. I understand that there have been a rise in anti-Semitic attacks. It went from and 150 to like 200, double like 200 and 80 or something like that. So be aware of what's going on in your society, ladies and gentlemen. Don't fall for the okie doke. Don't sit back thinking you're gonna elect one person. That's one thing Barack said that I agree with. It wasn't only up to him. He needed the people behind him to get out there and do what needs to be done. And that is so true. And that's one thing I liked about that movie. If you watch it, you'll see. It was only a movie, but it played out as to what could happen and what should happen to counteract this new insurgency of fascism and white supremacy in this country. Also in the news, I don't know if you guys came across that story about that nasty white girl. She had a young black lady in her room. The victim was named Chanel Jazzy Rowe. She was rooming with this white girl named Brianna Ray broke off her butt if it was my daughter. This white girl wanted the girl out of her room, so what she did was she took her used tampons and rubbed it on her bag and on her book bag, and took Chanel's toothbrush and stuck it up her butt and did all this nasty stuff to this poor girl. And she didn't realize what was happening. All she knew is she kept getting sick. Went to the doctor. The doctors couldn't figure out why she was getting sick. They knew she had like strange bacteria in the back of her throat. She said she was getting these sore throats, and they just got worse and worse to the point where she couldn't speak, she couldn't sleep. And come to find out, this nasty white girl, Brianna, was doing all this stuff to her, man. All this nasty stuff to her. And then what they found out was the RA, the resident assistant, the dorm assistant, came to her as she was moving out of the room. This girl, Brianna, went to Snapchat and wrote on Snapchat, "Yo, I finally got rid of the black girl, called her a nigger or something." And she started talking about what she did. It took, me, I had to do this, that, and the other, and stick a toothbrush up where the sun don't shine and all this stuff. So she saw this thing. Now get this. She goes to administration of the school and complained. Investigate okie doke. And made her sign an agreement saying that she would stay away from Brianna. They made the victim, Chanel, say that she'll stay away from Brianna, and told her if she went public, she'll be kicked out of school. So they protecting this the victim was being brutalized not only by Brianna but by the school too. The school protected this creep of a white girl, and just to show you how they stay on code, how they protect each other, So after Chanel went public with it, she went public with it. The school changed their tone, and they finally arrested the girl, but they arrested her on a misdemeanor, criminal mischief, I mean, I'm not trying to put it out there like that, but yo, if that was my daughter or my sister, I'm just saying, somebody be dressed in black and waiting for Brianna. Because that's just nasty, If you don't like your roommate, move the heck out. Ask for a transfer. Get you another room. Why would you go to that length to hurt someone like that? Do you know that's poison? I was studying with Jerry Washington, great martial artist, and he told me back in Vietnam, what they would do is they would take bungee spikes, put them in the ground, but with traps where If the soldier steps in it, as he's pulling his foot out of the hole, the way the trap was rigged, the spikes would come up and dig deeper into the person's foot. But he said before they put the sticks in the hole, they would dip them in feces, human feces, dog feces, so that when the person get stuck with these spikes, infection would set in, and you would die of dysentery, or you'd have to amputate the foot or the leg. So that lets you know that feces is poison. She's actually poisoning this young lady by sticking her toothbrush up her butt, and they charge her with with criminal mischief, which is a misdemeanor. Come on, dude. I mean, you could have seriously caused damage to this young lady, rubbing your menstrual blood on her book bag, putting toilet water in her water bottle. She should have been charged with felonious assault. She should have had a felony on her record. But again, they stay on code. So we're going to follow that story as well and see exactly what they do with this young girl, because I got a feeling they're going to let her off with some BS community service or some nonsense that ain't going to mean nothing. But we're going to see. This is what I mean by, and I've been talking about this before, how they stay on code and how they protect each other. It's just a daggone shame that young girl had to endure that and deal with that nonsense. Also in the news, I didn't want to talk about this because people have been talking about it and they've been getting on my man. But Tyrese, man, what the hell are you doing, brother? Like I don't even know how to address it, man. Bro, you on the one hand you talking about how much you're a superstar and you all this and that, and then you getting on Facebook Live crying like a little biatch. Like, what's wrong with you, brother? Ain't nobody gonna have sympathy for that nonsense that you doing, man. You was on tour, you was making money, and then you wanted more money than all the other guys talking about you're a big time Hollywood star, But see, you fell for the okie doke, man. I listened. I didn't listen at first, but then I caught it. Somebody had played it for me. You're on there talking about, I know millionaires and billionaires. And I was there for them, but nobody's there for me. Of course they ain't there for you, brother. The only time they know a black man is when he's making money for them. Other than that, they don't know you. They don't care about you. They don't care about your struggle, man. So why would you even fool yourself to think that you was down with what they doing? You fooled yourself, man. Now you in all this hot mess and you need money, so you going off on the Rock. I understand you threatening the Rock's daughter. Like, what are you doing, brother? Really? Get your stuff in check, man. Get your stuff in check, because ain't nobody gonna be caring about a grown ass man. That's just the fact. You need to get off that kick that you on, crying on Facebook, man, because you're only making yourself look stupid. You're supposed to be a big action star. Our young men look up to you, man, and you crying on Facebook like you a little punk. Like, get off that, man. Facebook ain't for that. Facebook Live ain't for that. For you to be crying, talking about who's gonna help me? What do you want from me? I'm $13,000 a month. What do you want from me? Come on, brother. My brother. I think the videos you put out, I admired. You gave some good advice here and there. But that one, bro, yo, kill that, man. Go on with that, man. Ain't nobody trying to hear that, dude. Handle your business, you know. Get your stuff on fleek. Build your paper. Get out there. Get out there and get some other stuff, man. Stop depending on that. Whatever. Uh, See, I don't even know what it is, but it's something about a car. Y'all be driving fast. Come on, man. You can't build a career on that, man. Everybody drives. Shoot. Come on, man. Like, get something else going. You're a good singer, I understand. Produce some music, man. Get some other projects going. Get some stuff going that's going to bring in some revenue and stop depending on The Rock. The Rock got his own career. He got his own family. He's going to make moves that's going to benefit The Rock. He's not going to make moves that's going to benefit Tyrese. He's just not going to do that, my brother. So you got to get off that kick you on, man. I mean, that was shameful, man. Who you think gonna hire you now that you disgraced yourself like that? You made yourself look bad, man. And that goes for all you house niggas out there that thinking you down with the Hollywood scene just because you making money for them for now. Because once you stop making money, once your brand don't mean nothing to them no more, don't go looking for them to be caping for you like you caping for them. It ain't gonna happen, man. It ain't gonna happen. That's just not the way they do business. All right. Finally, in the news, and this is going to break into our main topic of the day. The NFL owners are getting ready to be deposed. The judge in the Colin Kaepernick case, collusion case, is ordering their phone records and their emails concerning him to be brought in as evidence. And I know it's going to show collusion. I know they're gonna be busted. And the brother's going to win this case. And all this because their egos would not let them sign this brother and be fair with him. All this could have been avoided. They're losing sponsorship. Sponsors are walking away because players are continuing to protest police brutality. I lost my light, but I can still see me. So it's heating up and it's getting funky. It's getting funky, and this is for real. This is for real. This is really happening. The boycott is working. This is why I did a podcast a couple of weeks ago letting the NFL players know that y'all got the upper hand. Don't back down. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. This is not a time to fold them. Hold them. You got a good hand. You got all the aces right now. They are hurting. They are suffering. The NFL owners are suffering. The NFL teams are suffering. You guys make up 70% of the league, and you gotta make them feel it. Gotta make them feel it for what for the things that they've done. But that just brings me into my topic: the United Plantations of America. The United Plantations of America. Now, let me check my time here. 2:42. Okay, we're in good time. Okay, the United Plantations of America. What do I mean by that? What I mean is the plantation system has been in effect in America since the 1700s. It's basically a system of economics where you use cheap or free labor in a system of suppression and oppression and supremacy to bring about economic advance for one particular race or people on an economic level. All right. A lot of this has happened on sugar plantations down in the Indies, cotton plantations in the southern regions of America. It's like the triangle slave trade, where you took the slaves from Africa, um, sent them over to the Americas to do the work, and the economic advancement went across the seas to England. All right, until that all came to an end in the 1700s when America got its independence from England. But still, the plantation system was still in effect because America realized that that was the economic boom that would make this country an economic power, and it did, which is why a lot of people um, like Dr. Frances Wilson before she died, Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, and other scholars always argued that black people or Nubian people were owed reparations for the economic advantage that we gave to this country, you know. And a lot of people are still saying today that we are owed reparations because without our effort, without the free labor, and this is historical fact, without the free labor that we gave to this country, um, there would be no America. America would not be the economic giant, the economic force that it is, if not for the free labor of Nubian people. And as we look at this whole situation today, we still see the same thing in effect, but in a broader scale. All right, the United Plantations of America is still in effect. It's only broader. They've taken it out of the cotton fields, they've taken it out of the sugar plantations, and they've moved it to the boardrooms, they've moved it to the corporations, they've moved it to the fast food chains, and they moved it to the sports arenas. All right, the sports arenas are nothing but plantations. You hear different owners of the NFL talking. There was one owner last week talking about we can't let the inmates think that they run the jail. The Dallas Cowboys owner talking about anybody protesting going to be chucked off the team. That's just to let them know that you are our niggas. We bought and paid for you. You are our niggas on our plantation, and you're going to do it what we say, when we say it, and how we say it. All right? Same thing in the auto factory. Same thing in, like I said, in the fast food factory. You know, they got people working full-time jobs for less than $10 an hour. And you see what these workers had to do to get the minimum wage raised to $10 an hour. How's a person working from sun up to sundown and can't afford to live and feed their families and pay their rent? That's because the economic system in America is based on exploitation. Capitalism is based on exploitation. All right? And as I said earlier in the podcast, it's all the same thing. I don't care if it's communism, capitalism, or monarchy, whatever. It's all based on the same thing. It's all based on exploitation. And you guys need to realize that. That it's based on the exploitation, the rich and the powerful, exploiting the weak and those that don't have. Those that don't have an economic, social, political base are being exploited in this country. And that's basically what it comes down to. All right, and we pass this on from generation to generation. Anytime our children come to us with talent and ideas of breaking away from it, what do? We either send them to the plantation trainers, which are the school systems, whether it be a public parochial school or what we call an institution of higher learning. Ain't nothing but an institution of higher training for a slave, you know. And we tell them and after they spend 8 years, get $30,000 or $40,000 in debt, and have all these letters and documents behind their name, what do we tell them? You better go out and get you a job, bug-eyed and poke lips and everything. Yeah, I hear they're hiring down at McDonald's. What test you take? You taking that civil service exam? You know, But we'll be the last ones to tell them to open their own business. Take that talent. Take what you know and do and open your own business. You know. And start your own business. Look for a grant for small business owners. Go to the Small Business Development Center. I understand people got to eat. You got to eat, you got to pay bills, and sometimes it takes, especially when you come from a culture that has been economically oppressed as we have, it's very difficult to get these things started right out the gate. But we have to start training them now to break the cycle. What do I mean by that? I remember watching Menace to Society, and the actor in it was taught. He went to jail. You know, he was a gangbanger with the Muslim brother, and the brother showed him how his behavior affects his son's behavior, and his son's behavior is going to affect his son's behavior, and it's a cycle. It's a life cycle that we brought into, that we breed these type of individuals in our community. And it's the same thing with economics. Our behavior economically, our parents didn't know any better. They struggled, because their parents didn't know any better. And we've grown up with some of the same habits, being an economically and socially oppressed people. We've grown up with some of the same habits. So it's very difficult to break that cycle, But we have to start at an early age and teach our children the power of economics. We have to teach them and show them how to save money, how to generate money other than a job. All right? We have to teach them about residual income, because a job is only going to pay you for so much. I remember when I was coming out of high school, I was working for Manufacturers Hanover Trust in their bond department. And one of my jobs was to research lost bonds. In other words, if a company would call about a bond and they said, "Well, do you know such and such a bond?" And what I would have to do, I would have to go to this big storeroom, find the receipt for that bond, and call the company back and say, "Yeah, we know such and such a bond for such and such amount." And I was doing very well. And the president of that particular branch took a liking to me. I guess because I was finding so much lost money. We were averaging any close to $1 million a day of money that the bank would have just lost because nobody could find the receipts. So one day he took me to lunch and he told me, he said, "Yo, man, you got to go to school, man." He said, "Don't get comfortable here." He said, "We can give you a job," because I was a temp at the time. He said, "We can give you a permanent job here, but that'll be doing a guy like you a disservice." He said, "You need to go back to school. You need to put your name on the door, and you need to become the president of your own company." He said, "Because a job is only going to pay you but so much." We need to put that into our children. And that's what I mean by breaking the cycle. We have to break that cycle, that mental cycle that we're in. Telling our kids that, when our kids come to us and tell us, "Well, I want to do this, that, and the other," first thing we want to tell them is, "You better go get you a job." No, support them. Find out what it is they like to do. And if you can help them build a business, go get a job and do what you got to do to get it off the ground. But like I said, we got to educate our children out of this mentality, this sharecroppers mentality, this plantation mentality. We have to change the culture in our culture when it comes to economic and social development. And it's got to start with our children, because we're all in the plantation right now. The whip is different. All right, the whip has changed from a cat and nine tails to a bill collector, calling us up every week, asking us for undue, unpaid bills. All right, that mental whip is beating on us 24/7 to the point that we're so afraid to step out of that comfort zone of a job that we won't create something for ourselves. We won't create the economic and social base that we need to gain political strength so that we can break out of the plantation system. All right. My time is just about up, ladies and gentlemen, but please remember what I said and pass the word on. Um, we want to, again, thank you guys for tuning in when you do. We thank you for the support so far. Again, this will be out on Tuesday. Please let your friends know, let your family know, support the vibe, support the Mic is Live. Today's unsung hero, Angela Davis, freedom fighter, activist, author. She's been around a long time. She's on the FBI, and a happy birthday to her. Shout out to our brother Tariq Nasheed. We always like to send him a shout out. He's doing great work. If you haven't picked up his movie 1804, you can. It's in theaters, certain parts of the country. You can also order it on Amazon. Shout out to my brother Eric. Again, go over to his website. Check out his series on healthy living, healthy eating. Again, on Unsung is Angela Davis. Much love and respect to her, and a happy birthday to her. I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. We'll be coming at you again next week. Please let your friends and family know. We need the support. And remember what I always say. Don't get caught up in the lies that they tell, that you failed to prepare for the reality that is about to come. Peace, and I love you all.